Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jacob with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So, breaking news is Charlie Kirk was shot at a Utah university event where he was speaking. I'm going to show a little video of that real quick, and it's very interesting to me that he was shot in the right side of his neck. Remember, the Ukrainian woman was stabbed in the right side of the neck. So you have the masculine and feminine attack on the vocal, part of the. But I guess Charlie Kirk. A lot of people saying prayers for him right now. It is. I guess he's stabilized, according to Glenn Beck, and that's good news. So let me share the screen, and I'll show you guys the actual image and video of the event where he was speaking at. So you see him down here, and you're going to hear a report, a gunshot. There was a guy in the crowd. I guess they have actually apprehended him. We don't know his background, what it's all about. But Charlie Kirk, has been riling some people up lately with his views. So who knows? I guess we'll find out. So here's the actual event. So as you can see there, the shot rang out, and you see him, lean back and away from the gunshot. It almost sounds like a rifle report to me, but of course it could have been because of where it happened. So here he is speaking. You see him jump right there. He was lowering the microphone, and then he jumps. Now, normally when you get injured, your hands go to the injury. So you see, it looks like his right hand is going to the right side of his head. Now, I basically broke down the Ukrainian woman's attack. That's a false flag. I don't know what's going on with that. I think it might be that the black hats were going to use that to, stir the racial stuff again. They never really have, much success with that, although they did with George Floyd, of course. So who knows what they were going to do with that? It never came out. It happened like a couple of weeks ago. Some people are saying it happened like the 22nd or 24th of August. It's like a couple of weeks ago, and now starting to come out. So I think that, the white hats are basically flipping the narrative on the black hats, because they've been pushing this white, hate stuff. And I don't think the white hats mean to push black hate, but they're definitely going to push back and say, hey, this pushing, this stuff on whites has got to stop. So who knows what's going on with Charlie Kirk? We'll find out, I guess, later exactly what that's all about. And once that, starts to come out and I get some more information on it, then, of course, I'll report on it. Probably report on it till later tonight at 5 o'clock. We get some more information on it. So now we have Raphael Conquista joining us once again. Raphael, how are you doing?
Great. How are you, brother?
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Awesome. Are you getting rain up there?
We got a little bit, yeah.
Okay. That's what I heard. Like, it's really amazing here. So, 1st of September, and we just all of a sudden crashed down into the mid 80s, and we're having like marine layer in the morning, which has never, ever happened. So I'm loving it, but yeah, it's kind of the change that I think you've talked about. Definitely.
Yeah, real early. I mean,
I
think, like tonight, I think we're going to get temperatures down in the 30s here.
That's amazing.
We're still the summer, of course. So it is, things are changing. We had some when we were off on a trip to Maine. I guess there was a huge downpour for like 2 hours straight. And it was like rivers running down the slopes everywhere here in Lake Tahoe. So, you know, and washing mud everywhere, mud on through all the roads and stuff. So yeah, it's crazy weather.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm enjoying it because it's cooler, but
yeah, of course.
It's significant. Like you're like 4 to 6 weeks early on your temperature drop up there.
Easily. Yeah.
So I had a place, I remember a couple of years back, we had like one of those tropical oceans. And in like 10 days, I was living up near Lake Arrowhead. And in 10 days, we got like 2 feet of rain.
Wow.
And my house was like, I don't know, like the incline of where you're at, but my house was kind of on a pretty steep, they built it into the side of a granite hill. And it had a section that was like in the basement that was under the hill. And there was just water streaming through the granite into the basement had like 3 feet of water just coming out of right through the granite. It was just fascinating.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we had, we're on the side of a hill as well. Where this place is built, and when the water came down, it basically started washing boulders into underneath the house, and it basically popped the water line, and it flooded our little place where we keep storage. And you know, Dan and Jamie, who live with us, they're like, "Did you pay your water bill?" I'm like, "Yeah." And because we're not getting any water, I'm like, well, you might want to check and find out what's going on. So they looked, and they had somebody come over, and they're looking around, and then they see the water meters like going off the charts. And then they look underneath the house, and it's like a waterfall underneath the house. And so when the water, that river of water came down from the mountains, it basically washed a bunch of boulders down underneath the house and hit the water line.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
It piled up pretty good and hammered the water line. So fortunately they were here. But yeah, we get some pretty significant water damage in the storage area. So
awesome. Well, good to see you, everybody.
And it's like, you know, just like I was talking about with Charlie Kirk being shot in the right side of his neck. And then that Ukrainian woman that was stabbed, she wasn't stabbed because when the guy's like hammered, supposedly she was stabbed 3 times in the side of the neck, the right side of the neck. And then they released more video, and you can see the guy's like hammering on her. And then she like turns, and there's nothing. There's nothing. There's no wound. There's nothing on the neck.
Yeah.
And then she falls over, and then blood pours on the floor. She activated the the blood bag. But that's my take on that. You know, I'm a knife expert. So.
You are. And we saw that with COVID too. I was looking for some of those images just like about a week ago, and I found like 3 or 4 where there's blood all over. Like people were just coughing blood up on the hospital floors. And the beautiful thing about the test is we get tested, like there's no infection there. That's all like false flag stuff.
Hollywood blood, yep.
And it was very significant, like very widespread when they were marketing this COVID thing. It was mostly all fake or something else like pneumonia or TB stuff.
Yeah, I think what the Ukrainian girl attack is basically they're flipping the narrative back on the deep state because they're exposing a lot of stuff. You know, they've been pushing, Black Lives Matter and, white privilege and all that horse shit. And now they're flipping that narrative back because they're showing a lot of attacks that blacks on white now. Right. They're just like streaming out there now. And the judge that was letting this one criminal go for like 14 different times, she's been exposed as not even having a law degree. So in some states, they can actually, you might be interested in this. There's several states where you don't have to even have a law degree, and you can be appointed a judge. And they're tracking that she has interest in a company that basically treats people like this guy. So if he's keeps on going in and out and in and out, they're constantly making money off of him. So
Right.
that's so all this is being exposed now. Really good.
Yeah, that is huge. You know, I've grown up with some of my best friends have been black, and like there's like no issue, and that's like I think America is amazing that way, even though there's like this difficult time that we think back on slavery and stuff. But I don't know if you've ever heard of Pastor David Manning out of New York, has a big church, all blacks. And after Obama was elected, he went off on his congregation and the black community.
I do
And
remember that.
you remember that?
Yeah.
He was really I mean, he's still like dynamic, but he was just a brilliant guy. And he said, "You guys, yeah, there was slavery. Yeah, that's a dark mark." But he also said, he said, we've poured tens of millions, like his ministry is in New York and Harlem and stuff like that. And he said, if you just sit down for a minute and think about every culture on the planet and go back to Africa still, he goes, you guys never built a hut higher than one story. And we're still killing each other in Africa. And he contended with his congregation and the community that he said, we've poured millions of dollars into our community and ministry, you know, the word of God and all this stuff. And he said, we're still killing ourselves like unbelievable. So he was basically saying when he looked at architecture, when he looked at history, he contended, not me, he contended that the black community in general hasn't done anything without the brotherhood of the white man. Like, and I can see that. Like he showed, you know, like architecture was a big one. He went all over the planet showing amazing architecture and creations and stuff like that. And then he went to Africa and just, you know, they're still living in huts, killing each other. Very sad. So it wasn't like there wasn't a condemnation. Basically, he was like, you guys, wake up. There's a lot of love here. And today he's like, it's never happened before. And now we've got this reverse discrimination going on but that's the narrative, because I don't think, you know, the African American community as a large even feels that way at all.
Yeah.
But he was very fascinating. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, there's more updates on Charlie Kirk. They're going to keep coming in. We'll just kind of release what we get. Kirk was removed from the premises by his security team. Guys weren't doing a good job there, obviously. So video circulating online appeared to show Kirk recoiling after a shot was heard. So there's kind of a lot of different things. You see people running, crowd dispersing after the shooting. So people are wise now about these shootings. Shooting starts, you know, it could be somebody who's just like, you know, we saw in Utah before in Las Vegas shooting.
Right.
This is Utah again. Yep. So, you know, we had that big shooting at the, you know, MGM Grand or whatever. The guy was supposedly was shooting from his room. But we have multiple reports. There were, you know, shots being fired from helicopters and all kind of crazy places. So I know Denise had her kids there running for their lives. So that's pretty dramatic. She was on the phone with them during that time frame. But, you know, we have learned to basically hear shots, you get the hell out of there. That's what really surprised me about Trump's event. You know, when he got shot, everybody just hung out. So like it was a staged event. Oh, God. This was obviously not a staged event. I think this looked very real to me. His recoil from the timing, you know, from the shot and how he reacted, and then his reaction and how he moved his hand up naturally. That's what happens when you get injured. You look at the injury. Like if I were to accidentally prick my finger on a pin,
right,
I'm putting on a brand new shirt and there's still a pin in there. You're probably, some people have done that before, and and then you look at it. Same thing if you burn your finger, you like pull it away right away and you look at it. So you recoil from the injury, and you touch it. If you can't look at it, you touch it, or you do both. You touch and you look, right? So obviously he's not going to look at his neck, as his head's being blown back. But
that's not even a conscious move. That's just a natural, automatic. Yeah.
So from what I can see, I've seen a lot of these false flags. That seems legit to me. So there are people that are saying that he is in stable condition, and some about blood, giving blood. People are giving blood. Like, all right, let's stop the vampire stuff. But there's definitely a time and a place for people to mourn, and we're at that point. But we need to get down to business and figure the stuff out. We need to figure it out quick, because a lot of people are staying that mourning phase way too long. It's like, for me, I'm moving already. I'm looking at it. I'm like, who did this? What happened? That's the kind of mentality we have to start to take on this stuff, because these guys are hunting us now, and because we're really blowing back on their system and blowing it up, they're really going to start to come after us in a lot of different ways. So our top people like that, they just shot him. Who knows what else is going to happen? Everyone's going to have to be heads up. And if you're at these events from now on, gotta be careful. I'm going to events, and I got one coming up. And so I'm going to be like surveying the scene before I go in. Sorry, and if I don't like it, I'm not going in. So you have to start to think that way. It's going to be that way for a while. When I say a while, I'm saying years.
Yeah,
We're going to be years into this.
We really have to take care of ourselves and each other. Like, that's the first thing I just found out about it, like 10 minutes before I climbed on and saw you talking about it. So I was like, very glad I guess it just happened. So that's why, but I don't even know him. Sorry. But like, that's heartbreaking for me. And because I know it's one of us, and this is what's going down. And like you just said, I thank you for saying that. Like, you're the only guy talking about this. I don't hear it from anybody else that we're under attack. And that's like, maybe that's one of the greatest awakenings we can come to, is to realize that, like Scripture says, he roams about like a lion, seeking whom he may kill and destroy. And he's not talking about his seed line. He's talking about us. So, thank you for talking about it. No one else is anywhere.
Yeah. So they're trying to push us into World War III. They've been doing it for a while. They're trying to do it under Biden. It didn't happen. They're going to continue to try and do it from outside of our administration, I believe. And that's what we're seeing right now in Poland. There was a bunch of drones that went into Poland, and right away they're blaming it on Russia without doing the investigation work.
Right.
So, and I can pretty much guarantee you that it wasn't Russia that did that.
Probably a false flag.
What would they have to gain from doing that?
Yeah.
And who would have something to gain from doing that?
Right. No one's asking that question either.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So you were writing Putin on the beach near Ukraine, drone strike.
Yeah, I can share my screen, or we can just talk about it, because it's like, I thought it was kind of significant. He's on the beach at the location with us. I'm just imagining us, we're at Coronado. It's like amazing. And then there's a drone strike on the very beach that Putin is. And my thought was like, what the, like you were just talking about, like, who's really trying to pick a fight? Because I think he's been extremely patient. And I was even commenting the other night, like, what is, like, I can't even imagine this, because if I'm Putin, and as guys, we do that, like when there's a movie and stuff, like, what would I do? I'm still that way, but I'm like, if I'm Putin, I'm thinking, why is Zelensky even still, like, I'm calling the SEAL team in and on that deal. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? Like, why is Zelensky even walking around? It amazes me.
It is amazing. I think that Russia could probably could have taken him out many times already.
Yeah.
But they have something. War Room reports Charlie Kirk has passed. So there's all kind of different conflicting reports that he's doing good, and now we're seeing on social media that he's passed. So we'll just keep everybody updated in the chat. They're pretty much putting that in there. So, but you just have to keep an open mind. We heard that President Trump was dead a couple weekends ago, and remember we talked about how he's got some issues, and then like that weekend they said he's dead.
Right.
So,
right.
So you have to be very open-minded, guys, right now. And again,
be careful.
Be careful how they're going to like push this narrative.
Yeah.
Was he really shot? So I'm always questioning everything.
Everything.
I went hook, line, and sinker on COVID right away because it fit all the things that I trained for most of my life and we had hunted for. So they had all those things there. And then as time started to progress and we started looking deeper into that, hospitals on one day, there's like a line of people at the door. There's hospital trucks, or there's refrigerator trucks that are pulled up, for the dead bodies. And then somebody goes in the next day and they're asking the front desk, where's all the people? And they're like, what do you mean? Well, yesterday it was like all these people here. And we're like, we don't know what you're talking about. So then we started to see that in hospitals all over the world. Then we see the dancing, hospital staff, because they don't have anything to do. So they're dancing in unison, like they've had a lot of time to practice that, or were they really hospital staff? And then you see all these people like you were talking about, falling over in China and bleeding and dying everywhere. And they're building huge hospitals for everybody. It's like, it was all bullshit.
The whole thing.
Bullshit. Yeah.
The whole thing. So
be careful with this Charlie Kirk thing, guys. All right. Don't let yourself get spun out of control. Because I've already seen chat on social media where they're talking about leftists and this shit's got to end. So it's another Civil War type thing.
Yes.
So be careful.
Be shrewd.
We don't need to go Civil War anyway. I don't see a Civil War, but if some people get caught up in some stupid, that's going to happen, I guess. But it shouldn't. So just be the observer of all things.
I still feel like, almost like if we get back to that basic thing we've talked about over and over again, personal responsibility.
Yeah.
They're just going to collapse on their own.
Mm-hmm.
The weight of their own corruption will collapse themselves first. They just really want to suck us in. And almost, I think they want to blame us. So just being shrewd and discerning. And I hope everybody, because I'm very busy, and sometimes I'm like, Denise, what did Michael say? What did Michael say? She tells me, but I'm like, you guys got to send Michael's show to your friends. I'm serious. So it's like, it's a beautiful thing that you have this keeping us up to date. I really love it.
Okay, so I'm going to share the Liberty Daily, their snapshots, because a lot of people are saying that they're announcing on a lot of different venues that Charlie Kirk has passed. So this is what I was looking at. Charlie Kirk shot in the neck, suspected shooter detained. And I saw some of you guys in the chat, and I saw it was an elderly man. When I looked at him, I'm like, that doesn't look like a shooter to me. And some people are saying that they got that guy by accident, because I think there was a rifle. I got that ear. It sounded like a rifle to me. So that's not somebody that's close up to stage and taking a pot shot. So that's somebody that's trained. And the fact that it was a rifle shot, and if he did die, then that means someone as expert sniper that shot him.
I have a question for you real quick. I was thinking that very thing too, because I think almost if it was a handgun, even in close range, like maybe 4 rows of people back, to be sure they would have had to do multiple shots. And
if someone raised a gun in a crowd, everybody would be like all over that person.
Yeah.
Especially in Trump loving crowds. So Trump advanced call for prayers after Kirk taken to hospital. MSNBC wastes no time trashing Kirk as divisive and polarizing, suggests that the shooter could have been a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration. So they're like pushing on the bear. They're pushing on the bear right here. The bear's has been wounded, and they're going to push on it. So that's what we're going to see from the left, probably. And if that's what we're seeing already from the left media, they're probably involved. All right. So Glenn Beck receives word that Kirk has been stabilized, and hospital is taking blood now, and that's what I talked about earlier. And then in this latest one, though he may still be in critical condition.
For sure.
So let's look on X and see if there's anything. Left is the party of murder. That's from Elon Musk. All right. So I'm crying. I love Charlie Kirk. Can we please start a prayer chain? So not seeing the moment Charlie Kirk was shot. So that's okay. I showed that already. All right, there he is with his wife and family. So that stuff came out pretty quick, you know. Of course, you know, people have all this stuff and they're going to put it up there. But when I see a lot of this stuff come out really quick like that, if we start to see the stuff on a shooter, they find a shooter and stuff starts to come out of him very quickly, you got to really be careful with that stuff. So anyway, I'm not seeing that he has passed, at least on X. That doesn't mean that he hasn't. So like I said, you just have to be, you know, careful with what you're looking at. All right. So they can feed anything they want, like they did a couple of weeks ago that Trump was dead, you know. So anyway. All right. So Putin at the beach.
So Putin at the beach, and I'm just curious how he's going to handle that. And like I'm thinking even like another one I saw this morning was the Nepal case where they're chasing public officials and into the river and dumping on them and beating them down and throwing them out of office and burning down the political buildings, the houses of representation and stuff like that. Okay, so those people are getting the job done. That's pretty fascinating over in Nepal. And so like this whole corruption thing is like, it's like pervasive worldwide. And it's just a reminder that we've talked about, even like off and on. The FBI says public corruption is America's greatest national security threat. Greater than any other risk right now in our country is corruption from public officials. And then that folds right over to, I think I'll share my screen on this one. Let me get this rocking again. Make sure I put on the sound. And then I come over here to the Tucker Show, and this guy's talking about
New England Journal of Medicine, Lancet, Big Pharma. They own everything. There's a number of past chief editors of journals. And we're not talking just, you know, like some throwaway journals. We're talking New England Journal of Medicine, Lancet, British Medical Journal. Okay, some of the biggest journals in the world. Those are top 3 out of the top 4 that I just named. Journal of the American Medical Association is the other one. But chief editors in the last 20 years, at least 6 of them have come out and said that at least 50% of the science that's published is fake. Come on. Read their quotes. Marcia Angel is one of them that I can remember her name. There's a guy by the name of Richard something or other from the British Medical Journal who said the same thing. I just read an article about it just the other day. I'll send it to you because I'm
not surprised. I mean, the depth of corruption is stunning, and the fact that pretty much nothing's been done about it makes you wonder how long this can all last.
So you and I have already talked about this like a year ago.
Yeah, that's Dr. Kirk Moore. He was on my show.
Yeah.
About a month ago, and
okay,
I met him in person in Utah, and he talked about how he was going on, Tucker Carlson show, and I was like, that's so good.
Yeah, that's great.
Now we're going to move it up to the next level. He was supposed to be in jail, like in July. They were going
to what was going on with him?
He basically gave people like a non-COVID shot. Or didn't even give him a shot and just signed him off on getting a shot. And they really came after him. They were going to throw him in prison for 35 years. And we had, Pam Bondi came out and said, "That's it. He's good. We're not going to convict him."
Awesome.
And that was it. Yeah. So
Awesome.
we see things move in the right direction.
Yeah. No,
Still got a long way to go, though. Long way to go. Do you see that recent report where they came out about the vaccinated, unvaccinated children?
Yeah. Yeah.
The numbers on that. Oh my God. The
I think
unvaccinated made out really, really well. But the vaccinated children, lots and lots of problems. And they did a huge study on this and they kept it suppressed.
Yes. So you guys, this is like this is like, you and I have been talking about this forever, like tracking and tracing. So this is like the first tracking and tracing that I've seen. And I think I have that. I think I'll pop that on the screen. So it was like the Henry Ford birth cohort study, vaxxed versus the unvaxxed.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he talked about just incredible. Basically, the unvaxxed kids were fine across the board.
Pretty much.
And the vaccinated kids had staggering, he says, revealed staggering increases in all chronic disease among the vaccinated. So this right here is like so incredible because several things. Number one is it reveals, it's not just corruption, you guys. This is like probably, if you're a parent, this is one of your keys of evidence to start your case for autism spectrum or an injury that you know happened. And I know tons of parents who had injuries. They watch their children who are perfectly normal and then they get a shot and they collapse. So there's no statute of limitations on criminal felonies, you guys. So you can file civil actions on this because it's basically a criminal act. And I'm like all about going to court and taking these people down because we're talking about tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars in fines. But I think, Michael, it has to come from us. We can't wait for a politician. We can't wait for a Pam Bondi. It has to come in mass from us who have been injured, which is like this study shows all of our kids.
Yeah.
So it's incredible. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to come back to you now. So there we go. There's our like how to get involved. It's vast and it's like anything. I was even thinking like I hate to jump all over the place, but like my mind is just smoking right now, listening to you and like watching what's going on. As I was looking back just a few days ago to you were interviewing the truther guy, Lewis, I think it is Lewis Erms.
Lewis Erms, yeah.
Yeah. And he's running for governor. And the first thing that popped into my mind is, oh man, I wish I would have watched that. But I thought of like one cool idea, and I can't give any legal advice, would be for Lewis to sue Gavin Newsom in an action called Quo Warranto. I'm going to pull up my screen and read it to you guys because it'll make sense to you when I read it. Quo warranto is Latin for by what authority. A writ of quo warranto is common law remedy used to challenge the person's right to hold a public or corporate office. So I'll come back to you and we'll talk about that for a second. So like that would be ideal as a pathway for, a potential governor. Like that'd be exciting, Lewis, to pave the way by suing the governor because he really has no authority. And that would be a challenge to his authority. Why? Because since the man swore he would uphold something, Constitution, life, liberty, and property, he's done nothing but treason. Every action, every word, everything. And he's been recalled. So that would be the perfect timing to prepare himself for that governorship because it would also give him instant notoriety. Anyway, it's just an idea of mine because I'm like, I'm all about sue everybody. Let's go, bring it on.
That's the way to get people's attention, right?
Yeah.
They can talk smack and then they get hit with a lawsuit and they have to oh, I didn't really mean that. Well, it's too late now.
Yeah.
Pay for bullshit people. You have to pay for. How do you pay for children that have died from being over vaccinated? There's no amount of money in the world but there's tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of children that have died unnecessarily from the vaccination program.
Yeah.
Maybe even millions. Not all the money in the world could replace one of those children, but we need to start looking at some numbers. All right.
Yes. Yes.
Basically, that will destroy these vaccination companies and destroy them so that they cannot lie anymore, so they cannot do these bioweapon attacks on us,
Yes.
to like infect us, so that we demand their vaccination programs, which are more hazardous than trying to gut through whatever bioweapon they dump on us.
So with that report right there, and a parent takes action and sues. They could ask, I'm imagining, 100, 200,000 parents taking this by the horns and going, really, dads who are angry or moms who are angry and like, it's time to stop this. And in that action, or thousands of actions, would be everyone asks for an injunction, restraining orders against the vaccine manufacturers. It's over. It's the environment with RFK Jr. and with the attorney or the Surgeon General, like in Florida, where they're under DeSantis, they're talking about banning mandatory vaccines. Period. Like the atmosphere is ripe for people to be actively involved.
Yeah. So shooting suspect not in custody. There's lots of announcements, even from I guess his news channel, that he has passed. So that's unfortunate, but
yeah, that's sad.
That's what it is. And so now, like I said, we need to get to the bottom of who did this. So really need to track that down. So maybe the one guy that was caught was a decoy, and who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that, from people that have the ear, like in other Utah shootings, people were like, it's coming from over there. It's coming from over that building over there. It's coming from out there. So people could hear. I mean, I heard it and it was like, that sounds like blanks. It sounds like blanks. Because I've shot a lot of blanks and I've shot a lot of real bullets. And there was somebody on full auto with shooting blanks. Right. So we still haven't even got the bottom of that one. So now we have another shooting. And so it sounds like, this shooter had, or if it was a shooting, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you just triggered a thought in me that I really want to ask you. Like, as you went through that video, because I've never seen this, wouldn't there be immediate blood at the impact? Even if it was a small caliber, like a 22 round, wouldn't there be blood immediately? Or
that was a heavy duty caliber. And I would suspect that it was probably hollow point, which would spread very quickly, or maybe even now if it was a round that basically had mercury in it, kind of like what they used to shoot Kennedy, we would see a lot of stuff blowing up.
Okay.
And, but from what I saw, I just saw him whipsaw back and then they cut. So if there's other videos that come out in the future where I can do a video analysis, I can say if it's a yay or nay, what caliber it was, whether it was mercury filled or, I can do all that stuff, but I have to see it. So they're not releasing that now.
Yeah.
Will they not release it because of, because it's traumatic for everybody? Kind of like what they did. They piecemealed us with the Ukrainian girl's death, and then they have given us more over time.
Mm-hmm.
But see, they get everybody involved in it.
Yeah.
They start making their comments. They move one way or another. That's what they want. Right. That's what they want. They don't want you to get the full picture. They don't want you to know who did it, why they did it. So I'm just observing right now. I'm just, okay, he died. All right. So then in my mind, it's clicking. All right. This is an expert shooter. And they shot him in the right side of the neck. like that one girl was stabbed in the right side of the neck. So there's some kind of ritual stuff going on there.
And it's very, very soft tissue.
Yeah, you have the carotid and the jugular that run up the side of the necks.
Right.
You know, there's basically moving a lot of blood. So you hit one or both of those, it's pretty much, unless you have someone on the scene, which can be done, unless you have someone on the scene which knows how to, like, you know, stop the blood flow. I have heard of people basically saving people's lives that were cut, that had been stabbed and cut. Both the jugular and the carotid were cut. And I know of a guy that was there on scene. He was a medical guy, and he saved that person's life. So knowing that, and knowing he had a detail, and probably there were medical personnel there right on the spot, I would assume, it sounds like there was probably much more trauma that happened. So just a single bullet, that's a fix. For me, with my medical background, I would have kept him alive. If it was just a single shot of a normal bullet. But like I'm saying, if it's a high-powered, you know, 7.62 or 50 cal type weapon round, you probably would have seen from that snapback of the neck, you would have seen something happen, more than likely. But you have an entry point, and then you have an exit.
Yeah.
So the entry point can sometimes not show, but that exit, they cut it so fast you couldn't see any kind of exit stuff.
And on the white background, it would show up right away, pretty quick, right. Anyway.
Yeah. Now, from the angle, now if it seems like it's the way his neck snapped back, it seems like it wasn't from a higher place. It was probably ground level.
Right.
That would have snapped his neck back, because if it was from above coming down, it would have like probably would have hit and forced him forward. Right.
Okay.
Depending on, you know, the angle of the round going in. So now from a ground level, it could have come in and hit the medulla oblongata, and that's pretty much lights out. So if I hit that, that's what I'm aiming for if I'm going to kill somebody. And so that's if he got hit and he died, that's probably what happened. It blew out the back of his head.
Gotcha.
That's what happened.
So as being a shooter, you would know where to put the bullet.
Yeah.
And to get it to twist into the medulla.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Medulla oblongata is complete lights out.
Yeah.
So you go through the ocular cavity, or if you're going up into the neck, like they're saying, you want it through the neck.
Yeah.
So you have to go up at an angle to go and hit that.
Yeah.
You might remember that one movie, The Untouchables, with Sean Connery and who's the one actor who did all the cowboy movies? Kevin Costner. So Kevin Costner, they went to get this one guy. It was Kevin Costner. He was like the FBI guy, and so they went to get this mafia guy, and this mafia guy was on these steps, and he grabbed this woman, and she had a baby carriage, and the baby carriage like boom, 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 and this one guy who was a great shooter like slid on the ground. He's got his gun on the guy. I've done this for real myself, right? And he not the baby carriage, but I have slid on the ground shooting and hit targets accurately. But he basically stopped the carriage with his foot. He's on the ground. He's aiming at the guy. And Kevin Costner says, "You got it?" And he's like, "I got it." And he took the shot and went through his mouth at the angle from below and blew out the medulla oblongata, because he had his gun to the woman's head. So when you hit the medulla oblongata, it's instantly lights out, and there's no nerve action. So he couldn't pull the trigger. So that's why we aim for that as professional shooters. So if that happened, so I'm just assuming, you know, at this point. Again, unless I get more information, I'm not going to know.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I've done that in my dreams. You know, guys have those fighting dreams.
Oh, somebody said I said the left side. Yeah, the right side.
Right side.
I said
That's
left. It was right.
right.
Yeah. So I'm looking at myself going,
Yeah,
left,
yes. You were touching the right side.
My left, your right. So
yeah. We do that with testing all the time when we're doing like on-screen stuff. Yeah. So definitely.
yeah. Thank you. Who said that? Chris.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right for one. Yeah. Say no.
Okay. I think I just. There you are.
Yep.
Lost you for a minute. You were a little sketchy.
Yeah, if I get a little.
Sure.
Then
Man, I'm sure loving your view. All right, I think I lost you. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about this next item. If you guys can see my screen, the COVID wave washes over California. Some officials urge residents to mask up. Man, it just makes me crazy every time I see how the law guys and the media guys write their trash. I just call it's all just trash. And so they use these terms, washes over California, whatever that means. But here's what they're saying, and this is where it almost gets funny. A COVID wave washing over California with the state, I guess that means the governor, I don't know who that is, seeing increases in the number of newly confirmed cases and hospitalizations, urging the public to take greater precautions. Now, here's where it starts getting funny. The extent of increases prompted county health officials to recommend that residents once again wear masks in indoor public settings, at least until this transmission has declined. California, this is where it gets like hilarious. California currently has high coronavirus levels in sewage. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, boy, they're really getting good now. They're checking the sewage, apparently, because they're not seeing it anywhere else. So they're finding it in the sewer, in the toilets.
Yeah, they've done that for a while. From the early days, they were checking the sewage, determine that, you know, what kind of rates of COVID were happening in different cities.
Yeah, but it's making me laugh because I'm like, okay, so let's see. Who is it that's going out and testing sewer water? They apparently
is it real again?
Yeah, totally.
Mm-mm.
It's back to this COVID thing. The whole thing is baloney narrative, but when I see it, I'm like, okay, I want to point it out because this just made me laugh. Yeah, they're now checking the sewers. So I guess they're sending out from the CDC and the California Health Department now, instead of going into the hospitals for the phony, the phony nasal swab, now they're sending them to the sewers. So I'm just starting to imagine that. Okay, you guys climb into the sewers, take your samples, and then we're going to find one virus in a turd sample or a sewer sample. We're going to find one virus out of billions, and we finally found one, and it's oh look, you guys, it's the COVID, and it was in your shit. So I'm like, we got to have a laugh about that one. So yeah, and then yeah, are you back, Michael? Or are you still?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll come back to you, and if you want, I can keep going. I got some other stuff.
Yeah, keep going. Now I know they're trying to blame the Ebola outbreak on President Trump because he cut funding. So what a bunch of craziness.
Yeah. I know this is worthy of showing because it's once again, it's like the article I just shared with the COVID. So I'm just going to share this one as well.
One of the 6 Ebola strains that exist. The challenge now is deploying logistics to get vaccines to every corner, according to health authorities. We recall, deadliest outbreak in the DRC killed nearly 2,300 people between 2018 and 2020.
Okay, so what they do, here it is. This is like they pay a woman who's got a British accent to come in and wear the colors of the African people, and then to talk about it as if she's a part of this people group, and she's not. She's just a high-paid actress in there talking about it. And it's fascinating to use the term killed instead of like victim, like they were murdered. And back to the whole vaccine industry that we've been talking about forever. These people who died of Ebola had TB. We've talked about that before. So they're part of this TB number, which is 500,000 a year. And they keep talking about Ebola over and over and over again. And in these bioweaponized laboratories, there's like 8 to 12 of them in Africa, different African regions. And we have these enormous TB numbers that have the same identical symptoms as Ebola virus. And so she's talking about it. And it's just more of that fear garbage porn. And it's really a shame, because these people are being just completely murdered and taken advantage of in a mass scale, much like COVID, with a lot of other, diseases and things like that as well. So that, like breaks my heart, because that woman was part of the show. People are dying from the vaccines.
Yeah. So, tomorrow is 9/11.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
So everyone's got to be really heads up tomorrow. It's already started today, unfortunately. So there's been a lot of people that have, President Trump said, pray on 9/11. A lot of people have been saying, pray on 9/11. So with that many people saying, pray on 9/11, especially the commander-in-chief, start praying. Right? Start praying now.
Yes.
Don't wait till 9/11. So what can happen? We're, like I said, we've talked about this for a long time, that it was going to get really crazy as the deep state really gets taken down. We're not even seeing the beginning of it yet, unfortunately. So we'll see things like this that'll continue to happen, and you better watch your back going forward.
Yeah, and your front, as we just saw.
Yeah, that should be a given, but a lot of people don't pay attention to what's going on around them. 360. So it doesn't mean you walk through life scared and afraid. It means you're just raise your conscious level. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Intuition is very powerful.
Yeah.
And it will give you the insights and the knowledge that you need. All right. So President Trump has said that Charlie Kirk has passed. So we're giving him the rest in peace. So again, got to be heads up on the eve of 9/11. It's not going to get much better. It's probably going to get a lot worse.
Yeah. So we're going to be praying for each other, and of course his family.
Yeah.
And the nation. Hardcore. Yeah. I'm like, this public corruption thing, like I'm just not seeing them like what I would call repenting and turning away. Like, and that's why the Nepal thing happens. Like, I don't know. It's almost like when a wolf, gets that blood, they just don't stop until they're taken down.
That's a good point.
And like, so we're like talking about taking care of ourselves by all these parents for 20 years, 30 years. And all of these, as these vaccines has escalated, this is amazing study that this is an actual tracking and tracing. This is the true tracking and tracing of the vaccines at this study that we talked about today. So like, take advantage of it. It's time to bring lawsuits against these guys. And I remember, I might have shared this before, Michael, that I had my firstborn son, and I'm into like, okay, well, I got vaccinated, even though I'm not comfortable with it. I'll go ahead and do that with my son. And he got really, really sick on the MMR2. And the next time I went into the pediatrician a few weeks later, I said, man, he had an extremely violent reaction. I had to call in the nurses from our church and come in to help all through the night. And I was scared. I was going to take him to the hospital and stuff. And like, he didn't even listen to me. He just went, okay, well, he's probably due for his next one today. It was like a series of 3. And I was like, really? I'm like 24 years old. And you can imagine, like, I know you're in the SEAL teams by then, but I'm like, okay, so you want to give him another one of those? He's like, yeah, well, he's due. It's on his schedule. So I said, okay, let me tell you this. If you think that's the healthiest thing for him, you think that's a great idea, you go for it. But if something happens to him again, I'm going to visit you tonight. I was really, really angry about it because it was a lot of suffering. And he just disregarded it like what they do and just, it's on his schedule. We're just going to give him another one. And as soon as I said, I'm going to visit you tonight, he goes, okay, we're finished with the vaccine schedule. And turned around and walked out of the office. Yep. And so I guess the point is, like, we got to get that little Navy SEAL going in us again and just put a stop to it, dads. Time to say no.
Yeah. Yep, most definitely. And so you have on here, life on Earth, not random, scientist says.
I'll share my screen on this one. Scientist claims life on Earth was not random, but engineered. So a wild new theory claimed the origins of life on Earth were delivered by aliens who were terraforming the planet to habitable worlds billions of years ago. Now this is fascinating because if you just think about it, he's like basically saying aliens came and inhabited the Earth, and I'm like, it fits the Genesis narrative. It's just a kind of a gross twist that and the Genesis narrative being that the fallen Lucifer came and so did the fallen angels, came down and slept with the daughters of men and had children. And as you and I've talked about, like, that's what created these giants, and also like guys like Goliath and these stories, these guys that were 10, 20, 30 feet tall was from this.
Where is it?
Sorry
Where in the frames?
Sorry about that. So it's looking at a video.
That's okay. Anyway, so I thought I'd share this video also because I thought it was fascinating. This is, mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to play it. Hopefully the sound works.
Satan?
Hi. 2020.
Please. Call me 2020. So where are you from?
Hell.
Me too.
Call me or save me. I've been feeling so alone. I keep waiting for you, but you never come. Is this in my head? I don't know what to think. He knelt to the ground and pulled out a ring and said, marry me, Juliet. You never have to be alone. I love you, and that's all I really know. I talked to your dad, go pick out a white dress. It's a love story, baby, just say yes.
I just don't want this year to end.
Who would?
We were both young when I first saw you.
I just thought, damn, that's fascinating. That so this matchmaking online service shows Lucifer in hell waiting for a text from a woman so that he could then come down and mate with her. And it's just like, wow. So I thought that was very fascinating that because I think that's what's going to be the narrative, that this scientist is going to be wild when the aliens start coming and stuff like that, as they start appearing, they're going to say, well, we made you. And to a degree that's true, because of that stain, we would call that. What happened in the garden, at the fall of the garden, was really, I thought, well scripted, like almost right out of Genesis, just from that video. That you can tell obviously what might have happened just using your imagination. Yeah. So mixing of the seed line.
Yeah. So that's the alien thing. Dr. Stephen Greer talks about, how the Trump administration really doesn't want to go down that road.
Sure.
They want to kick it, push it.
Yeah.
But he also goes into, we still have whoever shot Kirk, right? He was shot by a conventional weapon.
Yeah.
Now there's lots of unconventional weapons out there, like we've seen the burning of cities and so forth, Lahaina, Paradise, more recently LA, direct energy weapon use.
Right.
But we need to be more concerned about that and these other things, because we're still flying around in helicopters and jets and so forth. And there, we've seen these craft that basically fly at angles and speeds that our jets can't even come close to.
Right.
And then you go into the water, they come out of the water.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, we're way behind on this. We need to start to identify, their ability. So now in DEFCON 0, a couple of my friends are doing a show, and they're basically exposing some of this, that we have started to move in that direction. It's let's see, it's Alpha Warrior and Josh Reed. Basically, they start. I was listening to their program today. I think they did it last night, and they're talking about how that. I don't know if you remember that one boat that was hit, Venezuelan boat.
Yep.
In the water. Yeah. So they're talking about how that was a directed energy weapon that hit it. So
from a destroyer or space base?
From a like when I was in SEAL Team 6 and so forth, we worked with the C-130s, Spectre gunships. They had started using them in Vietnam, and then they got more high tech. I remember when I was in the we're looking for Noriega during the Panama invasion.
Wow.
Me and another group of guys were on the periphery while some of our guys went in. We're protected detail while they went in and hit this one house. We thought Noriega was in. He wasn't there. But anyway, we heard over this wall, we heard some rustling. We asked the Spectre gunship, which was flying thousands of feet up in the air, what is that? And they're like, oh, we got our eyes on that. That's just a dog. And now we're talking back in the 80s technology. They had that ability to look at something at night. It's dark. We can barely see anything, but they saw everything. The night vision back then was just over the top.
Yeah.
So this Spectre gunship, which has Gatling guns on it, which has a 105 howitzer on it. Now, according to these guys, it has a directed energy weapon.
Wow.
And it hit that one speedboat with it was hit by a directed energy weapon. So that's their assessment, and Josh Reed has contacts and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
So
yeah.
So I've been saying on my shows that we need to be looking at the alien tech. We need to stop bullshitting around this. Aliens exist, right? I can tell you, aliens exist, right?
Yes.
I've had encounters myself. So it's time to wake up to this. It's time to stop pussyfooting around, because this deep state, if their back's up against the wall, they're going to come out swinging hard. And Charlie Kirk, you know, getting shot is nothing compared to what we've already seen them do, you know, like waste away cities,
Right.
burn cities. Like that's like, you know, Star Trek tech stuff, but it's here. They've been using it on us, and everybody's like, oh, it's just a fire spread.
Right.
It's like we're in trouble.
So then,
Right.
Yeah.
We need to like start fighting back against this.
Yeah. And
Now
maybe,
we haven't had a lot of hurricanes this year.
yeah.
Maybe they're suppressing that because there was one that had 90% chance of like spinning up, and it just went to zero. So maybe there's some other things that are happening on this high tech realm, but like Lifewave stuff, you know, that we use, that shouldn't even be we shouldn't even have that available to us right now. The only reason we have that is because Obama came in and said, did the FDA approve it? Get it out of here. Okay, I'll go share it with the rest of the public, which will probably like that even more. And that's what happened. So we're lucky we have that stuff. There's a lot more where that came from.
Yeah.
You know, 0 point energy, anti-gravity, all of these things exist on a massive scale, but they're not being utilized by the public because the public is still dumbed down about there being aliens.
Wakey, like
Yeah.
your shirt says. Yeah. And I think even like on a like down to earth level where we relate to each other, I think one of the biggest things we can do and is that intuition, that the prayers that we have, that the love that we have in our being, we can share that. And I think it becomes a tremendous protection to like cover one another, ourselves, and I really call it God's power, God's love.
Yeah.
As a protective shield for one another and for ourselves in this time. Because the deep state probably has access, if a lot of them I think are like literally demonically possessed in that spirit dimension. And so they probably have access, and I haven't thought about this until just listening to what you just said. They have access to maybe weapons like alien tech that we really have no idea yet.
Yeah. The fallen angels.
Yeah.
Are aliens, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the Greeks had, you know, all of the, you know, the gods that lived on, what's their big mountain there in Greece? They lived on, I don't know. It's their big mountain in Greece. So the gods lived up there. Now, why do they live up there? Because there's all these catastrophes that happen every so often. So waves sweep across the lands and so forth. Yeah. It's possibly coming again.
Yeah.
So every time we've stood up to them, it seems like in the past we get smart. We finally wake up enough, and then they just like destroy us. So we're at that point again. But like you were saying, the God energy, the God information. At one point, we were more powerful than them with that, and they dumbed us down. So if we get back to that, we can defeat them. So all of the stuff, like the remote viewing I talk about, remote influencing, the intuition, these are all capabilities that we all have.
Yeah.
And we need to tap to defeat them. So it is something that's going to come to a head very quickly. These shootings and so forth are going to intensify and increase. And it's not going to be just one guy gets shot, right? Like we saw in Vegas, it's going to be lots of people shot.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like 9/11 where lots of people perish. It's going to be like Lahaina, Paradise, and LA all rolled into one at one time. And it's going to be some kind of fake alien, you know, invasion type thing.
Yeah.
So they have that capability. We need to like really start to think along those lines very quickly and right now. God, the chat is blowing up.
Is it? Awesome.
It is
yeah, this is
Mount Olympus. Yes. Thank you, Deborah. Mount Olympus.
Olympus. And even, we could probably talk about this like for a
The
whole,
Olympians,
yeah,
the
these
Olympians,
gods.
the
And
Olympics.
even Samson was considered, by some cultures, Samson was considered, who was the great Greek warrior? I forget his name already too.
Hercules.
Hercules.
Hmm.
But fascinating. There's a story in, I want to say, the book of John, where Yeshua is standing behind. He's standing where Mount Hermon is behind him, and he asked his Talmudim, his followers. He said, "Who do you say that I am?" And right behind him was the temple of Pan. And this was fascinating to me because we see this 333, 322 everywhere from the deep state. And the temple of Pan is on the longitudes of 333. So it's fascinating. This was like the god of the fallen ones. And I was fascinated that the senator who passed the mandatory vaccines, his name was not Pan, this Chinese guy. He was given this name to like as a mockery, almost like that video that we just showed, as a mockery against us, because like you just said, we don't really know who we are. And I think as we come into that place where we know, where we re-embrace being God's kids, that we'll start getting our power back as well.
Yeah. Getting our power back. Denise Minnis, that's a great name. She posted that at one time we were 5D, 12-strand DNA, and then they basically knocked us down to 3D, 2-strand DNA. So now I've been through lots of people that have activated my 12-strand DNA. So that is a possibility. I think and move in intuitive realm in 5D. So we are getting that back, and that's what I talk about, and that's a 5D. And you're like, well, you look like you're still in 3D. No, you can move in and out. So that's what you were saying about having that God consciousness. Yeah. You can move within and out all of these different dimensional realms, portals, and you name it. That's what keeps us alive, really, going forward. It's not that we're smarter than them, because we're not on a lot of levels.
Right.
So, because they have long-term plans, and they have a lot of people that are basically implementing them. Even it means they're going to die when they do it. They're that type of characters.
Right.
They're completely dedicated, and they think they're being of service if they do one of these things that basically will bring down or keep down the consciousness, keep us enslaved, or kill us off on a massive scale, like the Georgia Guidestones, 500 million left.
Yes.
And most of those are them. So the rest are just us in slave form, through the vaccination programs. We basically get inhabited because it takes away our soul. And we get inhabited by some creature, dark demonic creature that basically inhabits us and turns us into a robot type thing.
Especially with the newer, more advanced vaccines. But they've known this all along. This was like foisted on us way back with the first vaccines, was this satanic seed line and the material in the vaccines. Matter of fact, Michael, like when we, speaking of the DNA strand, when we do our forensics tests on people, all of these things, the oral infections, the bacterial infections, the vaccines, they all degrade the DNA strand, and we test it. And then we also, of course, we use the patches, but we also bring in resonant nutrition to help raise that DNA strand back as well, because it's biophotonic or the biophotonic physical interface. So we talk about the strand. It's kept in its place. It's kept in its health place by the biophotonic, the light dimension. And so it's just, I just wanted to point that out because it's very fascinating. We're able to watch that in sick people or in a infected tooth or in a vaccine area, and how it influences the lowering of the DNA energy. So it is part of their attack, just multifaceted.
Mm.
And
Yep.
I think also, you know, we can see it, we could test it literally also with that love vibration. When we fall out of that, or when we're in too much stress, when we're like hurting each other, or when we're having the negative thoughts, that lowers the DNA strand as well.
Yep. So you have a couple of shares update. Let's see, people that have had amazing experiences.
I have a new one I want to share the screen on.
Okay.
This was very fascinating. So this was a local dentist wife, beautiful woman who came in with a completely different issue. She had a rash all over her body, and she heard about, you know, the oral scan and stuff, but she actually came in for the rash, and we ended up oral scanning her. And so this is going to like blow everybody away. So this was actually her oral scan. So the oral scan is several pages. For you guys who haven't seen it, just pop through. It opens, and then I usually talk to you, and then we go right into this testing of the teeth. And so I'll start here. So what we found, you guys,
It's like you froze.
was to tell what that is, right? Oh no.
Go ahead.
Somebody does not want me to say this, but this tooth, that number 3, is an old silver filling. Now, you guys, this is the wife of a cutting edge dentist right in our local area. All right. And so she has access to him scanning. Her teeth are fine. And then, so that's the right side, right? You guys, you can see that. And then over here, again, on the right side, on the lowers, is we found a crown. And the reference, I got references for all this stuff. So I show a fracture and I show a little spiral. And so what we're indicating here is under the crown is infection. And then down into the bone, into the root, into both root canals, there's infection. And it's tremendous. It's back to where we're talking about 24, 30 bottles of Intuostat as a measurement to look for the infection. Now, the point is that I wanted to point out is this. So this is the technology that the dentist sees, right? And to try to find something. So this guy's wife or the dentist is saying, oh, my wife's teeth are fine. And yet we have massive infection. So now you guys guess what side of her body. This is the right side lowers and right side uppers. Guess which side of her body that they diagnosed her with bone and blood cancer.
The right side?
Right side first, and then, of course, universal. And so this is the X-ray tech that shows up nothing. By the time the dentist is able to see anything, it's already into the bone and into the root, and it's already destroying tissue or up into the sinus. So a lot of times, you guys, it's 10, 15, 20 years later. Matter of fact, I'm going to take you real quick to this is the X-ray machine from 1896. So on the left side of the screen, this is an X-ray of a hand in 1896. Compared to today, this is the X-ray for today. So what do you see? Not much of a difference, right? Okay, this might be a little clearer and a little more advantageous at some of the finer points in the carpals and joints and stuff like that. But so point being is, like, this is 18th century technology, guys, that dentists are still stuck in. And they cannot see this amazing thing called bacterial biofilms anywhere. So because of the oral scans, and before the oral scans, I was testing people and sending them off to a dentist that I had trained. And then now, my contention is, you guys, that if you are able to overcome your cancer, so I hear about it a lot, there's a lot of cancer summits and a lot of cancer talk going on. If you have been diagnosed with cancer and you've overcome it with nutrition and therapy and healing, stuff like that, it tells me, number one, that your diagnosis may not have been entirely accurate, because we're under attack. And I've seen it time and time again where a lot of people get cancer diagnosis, and I'm like testing them going, yeah, you're sick, but you don't have cancer. And I can't diagnose it, but in the energetic dimension, I'm not seeing something so lethal. And so my point in saying that, you guys, is that if you've overcome your cancer, what that means is that you had infection from another childhood issue, like a strep throat, a gut issue, a tonsil, ear infections, a biofilm that migrated into your body, heart valve is very common, but like in tissue, like a breast, and you've overcome it. Because if you have an infection, like I pointed out here, and her diagnosis was cancer, you're not going to survive. There's not an opportunity. There's no chance for you to survive that diagnosis as long as you have an infected tooth and your dentist can't see it. So this is why I'm saying this is the black hole of medicine, because they can't see biofilm, and they can hardly see what's going on up in the bone, as I just showed you. With this technology, it has to be, so we have to shift. We have to have our dentist shift. We have to have the American Dental Association shift into cutting edge technology, which would be the oral scans, quantum forensics, where we can see everything. So her husband was like, you got to be kidding me. I can't believe it, because he doesn't know me. She came in for the rash. And so we connected the rash to what's going on in her entire gastrointestinal, in her liver, and it's coming out through her skin, all the biofilm, and of course, the material toxins through her chemotherapy program. All right, so I'm going to come back to you, and it's significant because this is my message to the world, you guys. We have to get a hold of this. This is what Fleming talked about. And in disease discovery, for all you guys who are spending $500 in the store or buying the family EMF pack, you're going to get the disease discovery. And in that is also going to be me doing a commentary on 5 doctors talking about bacterial biofilm. And you're going to get that as well. And it's very exciting because you'll be able to see what medicine's top guys are saying about it. And I'll point out just one of them real quick, if I can, Michael, is so when Dr. Fleming discovered antibiotics, it was an accident. Somehow, and I'm not sure, the story goes that some moldy material got into one of his bacterial petri dishes where he was growing bacterial strains on agar. So this is lab stuff. So some of the mold got into the petri dish, and it killed some of the bacteria, right? All right, so fast forward now today. So that was like 70 years ago. Now fast forward to today, where one of these doctors that I'll be showing you, you'll have access to in my commentary, is where he says now we're growing bacteria in the petri dish in the lab, and we're giving it different types of antibiotics. And then he says, and we're not seeing it do anything. And so Fleming's warnings that using antibiotics would become the death of mankind is the vast experience now. This is our black hole. And I'm telling you, Michael's show is the only place on earth that this is being talked about, is revealing that this experiment was one of our attacks. Was one of the tools, like we've talked about earlier, where we're being attacked and eradicated. and we've been believing that this is part of our health care.
Mhm.
And so we have to go back and start eradicating these infections that are at their all-time lethal high. We have to do it with natural means. Even like, here's one on the American Council on Science and Health: antibiotics, perfect storm 2024, continuing to evolve. So they're like not being silent about it anymore, where they're saying it's killing us like crazy.
Yep. So michaelkjaco.com, and then when you get there, click on the intuitive wellness brand, and it'll take you to the store. And there's specials that we're having that's in the description box. So definitely take care of those. Take advantage of those. Get extra. And then, of course, we got the Hogans Heroes Lawfare Club link, and Lifewave with Denise Love, and Detox All Food videos, food detox, and detox your vaccines and help oral infections. And of course, we got the oral scans with free body scan, right?
Yeah, so the oral scans price went to its regular price, but what we're doing now, it's really cool. When you get the oral scans, after we finish that, then we're going to get your body scan, and that's free. So we're going to scan 7 major points on your body and any health issues that we have. And then we're going to show you the connection to Lifewave patches, the nutrition, and dosing will help you with protocols, and also with any detox packs that you might need. So we're going to coach you, take you by the hand, and walk you through both the physical body and the mouth and the oral cavity with the patches, with the nutrition. So it's like a whole program for you with the oral scans now. So I'm really stoked about that.
Yes.
And the body scan is free. So, and that's going to be both of those. You're going to get FaceTime with me one-on-one with talking about your teeth. And then again, after we scan your body, you're going to get FaceTime with me talking about what we need to do and where we need to put our patches and all that kind of amazing stuff.
Definitely. And then Jessica says, lock and load, everyone. All right, Jessica. All right. I love it when the girls pipe in like that. That's good.
That is good.
Keep you ladies safe. Learn to carry. Yep. But don't just carry, know how to use it, right? And don't be scared to use it if you need to, right? Yeah. So awesome. It's been sad show, learning while we're talking that we've had a death of a great man, and we'll mourn that in its place, in its time. But we have to look forward to getting down to the bottom of finding these criminals and taking them down, taking away their money sources, which is big pharma, and the border's been sealed up. That helps take down their money source. So we're bleeding them with their money source that they need to basically control us, and that's why we're having such great success talking about this here on this platform. That used to be you could not say what did I used to say about the COVID vaccination? I'd call it the COVID. I call it the some crazy name, but they even stop that name. I can't even think of the name of that anymore.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, it's like the Jabberdo. So I would say Jabberdo, and I get away with it, and my shows would continue, and then they're like, he's talking about the vaccination when he says Jabberdo. So they did away with anyone on anywhere in YouTube. And I remember I was on Nicholas Viniaman's show one time, and he said Jabberdo, and I was like, do you know you can't say that? And they took his channel down.
Oh.
He kept saying it. I was like, all right. So, crazy. So now we can talk about it. So that's amazing. So we've come where we're at right now because a lot of us have stood up and pushed back on their ability to control us. Yeah. We have to keep pushing.
Yeah.
We'll see more Charlie Kirks, unfortunately, we've talked about that. They've tried to take me out. I probably tried to take you out, whether you know it or not, Raphael.
They told me they were gonna.
Yeah, so you're like you're skirting, you're like low profile, so that's good. So that's one of the things that a lot of us put up with. Charlie Kirk, unfortunately, he was doing a lot of events, really pushing back on the deep state, and it cost him. So it's very sad for his family. Looks like he had a really young, beautiful family. And, that's that. You take this. You're a warrior. To help push back on this and help people. But warriors from throughout time have been taken out, guys. So.
And like you, I know that's in your being, probably a lot more than in mine. I still have that little bit of, I'm a Navy SEAL wannabe, but God's kids don't bend the knee to anybody else except Yahweh. And so we got to remember that He's our dad, and we're not bending the knee to anybody else. Not ever again.
No.
Not ever.
We never did, and some people did, and I think now they're regretting it if they're awake. But there's still a lot of people that bent the knee, got the shot, and they think Charlie Kirk deserved it, So that's very sad. All right, guys, lots of love. Stay in the love vibration, and we'll see you guys next time.
Love y'all. Thank you.